Hi, my name is Alan Davis, and I'm going to present the results of the informal reading inventory I conducted, as well as the results of the informal music reading inventory that I created. Both of these assessments were implemented with a third grade student that I worked with as part of my coursework for the practicum course at Toro. This was a student who had been stuck and was a bit of a mystery to the classroom teachers and also to me, someone who had struggled, and we couldn't find very many successful interventions as yet. She has an IEP without a whole lot of specific or clarified directions. So I was hoping that in conducting these two tests, I would be able to come up with some more information that would help me and her classroom teachers. So to begin with the informal reading inventory, I found that the student was about a half semester behind in her reading, a little lower than what her teachers had previously thought. She was reading about a second grade, middle of her second grade year as a third grade student. I found that she comprehended at a much better level when she was either reading aloud, reading silently, moving her lips, or when she was hearing me read aloud to her. So I thought that was interesting that in her silent reading, her comprehension scores were much lower. Also saw that she showed a marked need for use of very specific instructions, such as the use of apostrophes and phonetic helpers. She showed that she needed phonic instruction. She had the inability to stretch words out and poor decoding skills overall. So that gave me a better idea of where to start with her classroom. As her music teacher, I also was interested in seeing specifically what had held her back as a first and second grader in music. So I created an informal music reading inventory that sort of modeled after the IRI and gave me some information there. So what I found for the informal music reading inventory was rather interesting. I thought instead of actually reading the notes, this student was doing what I call fake reading. She was looking at the fingering numbers, relying on those numbers to play, and the result would be that even though she has good technique, good performance habits, and she's able to read the rhythms accurately, she is sometimes playing with the wrong hand or moving in the wrong direction or playing on the wrong part of the keyboard, and it makes the song meaningless ultimately. It shows that she's really not able to read music in the way that I'm charged to teach her to read. So that information was very vital to me in creating an intervention program for this student, because I could focus specifically on her identification of staff notation. So I found some software I could give her for free that would teach her how to read notes. I had her work with tutors. We used whiteout to cover up the fingering numbers, so she was forced to read the musical symbols. I had her enrolled in band, where she gets an extra hour and a half of instruction on this, and then also provided her with a keyboard at home and a CD that she could play along with to remedy some other things I saw in the informal music reading inventory, where she was discarding some of the structures and the overall shapes of the song, and she was just playing based on, again, what she saw from those numbers. So with the scaffolding of a CD, she's able to pick up externalized motivation. She's also able to get that extra instruction when there isn't a teacher around, and so that has helped her out. For her informal reading inventory implementation, what we did is we increased her one-to-one conferencing schedule. We put her in a focused small group that had phonics instruction built into that. I created some targeted lessons around apostrophes and also around some other phonics techniques that we could use. And we're currently experimenting with a device called a whisper phone, which actually goes from her ear to her mouth, and it allows her to read silently aloud even when we're in the middle of silent reading. So she's the only one that can hear it, but to her it sounds as audible as if she's talking out loud. So if we're reading, she can follow along, she can read out loud, and this is increasing, we hope, her comprehension scores. So overall, I found this to be a great tool for assessing my students, and I hope to use it for a lot more students in the future.